Hello everybody, welcome back to Dante's Game Room. This time I'm going to be doing a little drawing video. I started sketching this page because I'm actually going to be testing some inking supplies, but this is my studio, Astroplane Studio. Never mind the horrendous wallpaper. It's actually from the Civil War. This is a 300-year-old building that my studio's in. So, yeah, forgive the horrible wallpaper, but it is what it is when it's 300 years old or 200 some years old. But anyway, I digress. I'm just going to be doing this little sketch, talking to you about some upcoming events like wrestling events and some other artistic events that I'm going to be trying to do. But here goes nothing. I've already started this sketch too, but I'm going to finish it. Like I said, it's so I can do another video, but I figured I'd talk to you about some stuff while I finish this little sketch. Alright, there we go. And also, me and my son just defended our tag team titles for Enterprise Pro Wrestling at Scotland Community Center in Scotland, Pennsylvania. If you want to go check that out, it's at Enterprise _ Pro Wrestling, and it's Brando and Bravo, which is us versus Ye Boys, which is Brett Sabbath and the SoundCloud sensation. So you can go check that out if you want to see our wrestling match. It's a unique wrestling match, to say the least. I don't want to spoil nothing, but hopefully you'll have fun watching it. I certainly had fun doing it. But anyway, I digress. Our next wrestling show for Enterprise is going to be September 27th. I think it's also at Scotland Yard. So I don't know what we're doing yet for that. If I'm having a singles match or we're going to be going for tag team titles again. So I'll let you guys know when I know. This is one of the characters from my comic book, Demons and Angels, the Mecha City Chronicles. Try to keep you where you can see stuff. I got some art supplies that are showing up in the mail today too. If they had come a little bit earlier, one of them came, which is this Presto like whiteout like stick. I've been doing the testing white ink and white paint supplies for highlights. This was actually suggested by Daniel Warren Johnson. He also has a YouTube channel. He's a prolific comic book artist, and he does drawings on Friday nights if you want to check him out. But I think he just finished his run on the Transformers. And I just recently got a trade paperback of his The Moon is Following Us that I can't wait to read, and when I do, I'll give a little review of. but it will probably be biased because, like I said, I'm a huge admirer of his artwork. So he recommended this as a on-the-go inking whiteout supply. So I picked it up from Amazon. This was about $6. I also got some Onyx graphite that he also recommended. And that was about $5, but it hasn't come today yet, or I'd be testing it out on this sketch, like I said. But this sketch is going to be used for an inking review. I got this. I was going to see how these tips perform, and you can see all the selections it's got. You know, cartooning fine, cartooning medium, cartooning bold, traditional calligraphy fine, traditional calligraphy medium, traditional calligraphy bold, script calligraphy fine, strip calligraphy medium, and then of course strip calligraphy bold. The ink I use, and I recommend, is this Speedball. I buy it in bulk, but I usually, like, I'll put it in this and I'll use it, or I have these little things I can hold and use. I'll fill up if I'm out somewhere. But yeah, this is the ink I use, and I'll be using for that review of that product later, and that's from Hobby Lobby. I guess it's their brand, or one of their generic supply brands. But anyway, so I got some different art reviews coming up. I try to get affordable supplies, or give tips for affordable supplies that look professional, because not everybody in their area can get supplies, or professional art supplies, or don't have the money if you're a young artist starting out. And but I like to at least make suggestions for people to be able to, you know, try and, you know, give my opinions on them overall. And this is just a very basic, you know, guy standing there. But like I said, he's a character from my comic book Demons and Angels, Mecha City Chronicles. And hopefully I'll have like some ash cans of it out soon. Like, I have a rough draft of one of the first pages. This is just like instead of thumbnails, I just rough out like what the first page is gonna look like, and then I go and refine it or make it the way it's actually supposed to do. He wakes up from a nightmare. Oh God, it's the same nightmare or same dream every night. And he gets over into the bathroom and splashes some water on his face. So like, that's the first page of an upcoming issue. Just but I'm gonna be doing some live drawing. The places I've talked to so far are Four Color Fantasies in Winchester, Virginia, where I usually pick up my comic books. And Secret Lair in Harrisonburg. Gonna you know, have some live drawings, and because I don't really have the money to I recently opened up my own comic book store, and I don't really have the money to put out a comic book. It's expensive. You know, a comic book can cost up to $20,000 if it's a new property. I do everything myself. So I do all the pencils, I do all the inking. When I can't afford a letterer, I hire a letterer, because I feel it's one of my weakest points. And people just that do it every day, and really they can do a better job than I can. So why not, you know, give somebody else an opportunity and, you know, support another artist. And then on some of my books I do all the coloring, but on other books, depending on the type of book, I also hire a colorist because you know, depending on the atmosphere I want to provide, they can do a better job, I think, you know, because that's what they do. They're a full-time colorist. But to save money, I do most everything, and sometimes do everything because you know I have a lot of children and grandchildren. My wife isn't gonna allow me to, you know, put out tons of money just to produce a comic book. So I usually produce them as cheap and as affordable as I can. And, you know, I'll make mini comic books with some ideas or stuff like that. But I'm going to be raising money doing live drawings. Like I said, to try to put out a nice comic book, you know, like professionally printed and stuff like that. But, you know, to make your money back on an investment, you know, you got to sell a lot of comic books, you know, and I need to be responsible and put, you know, my family first. And if I want to produce comic books like that, I have to, you know, have people willing to buy them. So, and support, you know, build a community around them. So that's what I'm going to be working on doing. I don't really know how to do it. You know, building a fan base and stuff like that. As you can see by my YouTube channel, you know, I just put stuff out there. I don't really edit anything or do a lot of that. I just try to get stuff out. I'm really busy. Like I said, I wrestle. I have a comic book studio and art, or like a graphic design. I do a lot of like sign work and stuff like that, and logo design and but you know, that's my business. So I really don't like mixing the two together. And then like I let other comic book artists and stuff use my comic book studio because I have a full digital like comic book studio, but I mostly work traditional, so I provide that for the younger people. Like I have a bunch of iPads and like XP Pen 22Rs or 24Rs and Wacom's and stuff like that. And I'll, you know, I should be more like, you know, fiscally responsible and like I guess rent studios out. But a lot of the comic book artists that I help out, I just believe in and want to give them that, you know, they don't have those resources, so it's kind of like, you know, me giving back to the community, I guess. So I let them use my stuff and, you know, that they wouldn't have access to otherwise. But I like I said, I do most of my work traditionally anyway. I have all this stuff, and I do it occasionally, but mostly for like sign work. I'll use that kind of stuff if I have to like draw like a logo or like a sticker or design a t-shirt. I design t-shirts for wrestlers as well. So it's kind of like an all-in-one like sign shop, comic book studio, graphic art studio, but I want to use it more for comic books. But you know, I'm old, and when I was younger, instead of like trying to break it into business, I always was kind of like a punker. You know, I was in a rock band or punk band and heavy metal band, and I always created zines, and I always thought it was important to fight the man, and I always, you know, like my thing was like just donate whatever you can and you get the zine or whatever. So I should have been more about being the man myself, I guess, and making more money out of it. But I'm learning, you know, you learn as you grow older that, you know, you got to be more responsible about that stuff if you want to make a business out of it. And like I said, I have several businesses that do make money, and I am But like when it comes to art, I don't want it to be too much of like a job, or ever feel like it's like freedom of expression. I want to be able to put my thoughts out there without it being hindered by like deadlines and other people be able. I don't want to turn art into a job. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to like this kind of stuff, I do it as an escape, an enjoyment, but when you want to put out comic books, you kind of have to, everything's only getting more expensive now. So, and I want to get more people to be able to read. I'm just rambling and rambling. But like I said, I'm drawing this guy, so I can actually review that inking set that I got. So, and I'm recording this on my cell phone, and I'm running out of space, so I'm just running my mouth more than anything else. And I'm learning how to talk on these things too, because I'm not a good YouTuber. I'm not used to technology. Like the internet didn't even exist when I was young. So, my son, he's hopefully going to be making videos for this too. He made like a video game, like pickups video the other day for me. He's got his own channel too. It's called Cot Games. So check him out. Like I said, he's also my tag team partner. He's the guy you see me wrestling with in other videos on this channel. We're Brando and Bravo. So, but we're learning. He's got a lot of followers on TikTok, like thousands of followers on TikTok. So hopefully he can translate that to YouTube, because I certainly don't know how to make I wish I did. But I'm going to put some clothes on him. There's his legs. And like I said, I'm going to ink him and review the Master Touch nib and ink set. And I'm going to be using, like I said, Speedball. And I might even color him with some ink and a mixture of alcohol markers, some Indian ink, and maybe some colored pencils. This is the Strathmore 300 series smooth Bristol board. I usually use the ones that are set up for comic books with the non-photo blue, but for this I just figured this would work because I'm just doing it I'm drawing this for an art review. But I guess until next time, Dante's Game Room out, and bye bye.